Hello, my name is Hunter Rapier, and I will be talking to you guys today about why you really should vote. Something very important, something very interesting to talk about. Of course, I will be talking about a brief introduction to voting, to what it is and what it has been and where it came from. A brief history of democracy and voting across the world. Some statistics about voting here in the United States, and some reasons that people give why they do not vote, why they think voting is not important. And of course, all of this is to help you understand why you should vote, because I believe you should. First, democracy and voting. According to the Webster Dictionary, democracy is a government in which the supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representation, usually involving periodically held free elections. And that is from Webster Dictionary. So I think something important to notice is that the power is vested in the people for the government. It is literally a government run by the people, for the people. But democracy is something that has been around a very, very long time. The first recorded democracy was in ancient Athens, about 350 years before Christ. So a long time ago, people started this idea of the people controlling the government. Of course, democracy has changed forms and become more broad as years have come. And that has changed the way that voting is. But in Greek, so in ancient Athens, in the Greek term for democracy literally means ruled by the people. So once again, that is something super important for us to remember. Voting rights in America, which is where we all live currently, I guess, is something very, very important to look at. In the beginning of the independence of the United States, voting was only done by white males who owned property. So if you weren't white, you weren't a male, and you didn't own property, you were not allowed to vote, which is pretty significant because that was a very small portion of the population. So it was a government ruled by some of the people. But along the years, there became changes to those laws. Surprisingly, it was not until 1964 that voting rights were considered to be civil rights for all American citizens. But many battles were fought to make that happen. But even still, there are some American citizens, such as the American citizens who live in, let's say, Puerto Rico, who are not able to vote because they live in a US territory and not in a United States state, which is quite interesting. And that is according to Berg 2009. Who votes in America? I found some very interesting statistics in the United States Census Bureau, their website, that stated that only 61% of eligible voters voted in the 2016 presidential election. That leaves almost 40% of eligible voters who did not vote, which is shocking, especially considering how many people complain about the results of the election. Guaranteed lots of those people who complained did not even vote. Had the rest of the 40% of people who could have voted, the result may have been different, which is something shocking and something that really shows the importance of voting. But of course, we need to look at why some people do not vote. There may be many reasons that people do not vote. Some people do not vote because they don't believe that their vote will change anything, that their vote won't change any part of the election, that it's not really counted, it doesn't change. In 300 million people, what is one vote going to do? But of course, if half of the population or 40% of the population think the same thing, that, oh, my vote won't count, so I just won't, that clearly will change the outcome of the election. Many people also think I'm not represented by any of the candidates, which might be true. Your values may not be completely represented, but for sure between the two or however many candidates there are, you're more represented by one or the other. So sometimes we are forced to choose between two evils. Whichever is least evil, you should vote for that one, because it will make a difference. Many people, including myself as a young person, I used to believe that either way, whoever's elected, it's not going to change my life. But that, of course, is not true as well. The president does not have absolute power, but he does have many powers that change and affect our lives. He can set into motion many changes in the way that our country is run. So your voice does matter. Even if you're not represented by the candidates, it matters. And it will affect you. So it is very important to vote. Of course, I'd like to end with a quotation from Morrison, 2018. It says, "Your vote is your voice when it comes to politics. It is important to make your voice heard." We have the incredible privilege of living in a democratic state, United States, where we are able to vote. It is our right, it is our freedom, it is our privilege to put our voice into who rules this country. Voting rights have changed almost 100%. Now everyone can vote, everyone can put out their voice. And I encourage every single person who is eligible to vote that they go out and put their voice forth so that they can be a part of the politics, that they can uphold their standards in our government. And that is what I would like to encourage everyone to do, is educate yourself politically and go out and vote. Thank you.